It's Charter Local Edition. I'm Brad Pomerance. We are at the California State Association of Counties Convention in Palm Springs, California, and we are joined by a man who represents the northernmost part of our great state. His name is Bob Berkowitz. He is a supervisor in Norte County. I want to speak with you about your beautiful community.
Glad I can't believe that you got the pronunciation correct.
Some people say Del Norte.
Yes.
It is not Del Norte,
Well,
it's Del Norte.
Those people, of course, we consider them foreigners because they don't know,
argue.
right?
No, I've been corrected, so I'm glad you
Good.
noticed that.
I'm proud of you.
Del Norte is obviously a beautiful county, very rural.
Yes.
And as you know, a few years ago, as a result of some concerns about the drought and fires, the state legislature passed what's known as the fire fee, the fire tax, which is a specific fee tax, whatever you want to call it, against rural homeowners in California, about 800,000. There's been a lot of consternation surrounding it. Talk us through it, sir.
Well, you know, that's a real problem, especially in our area. The thing that really frosts a lot of people is that it's a tax or fee. Nobody's been able to discover which, but it's never voted on by our people. But it's a tax or a fee that only affects those people that live in rural areas. Now think about that. LA doesn't pay that tax, San Francisco, Sacramento, even the people in Crescent City, a mile and a half square, don't pay that tax.
Oh, really?
It's the people in the rural areas.
Well, the argument goes that it's those people that will need additional protection should there be a fire because they're in fire country. That's the argument.
Well, the argument is false in that we already have our own fire protection. They already have Fort Dick Fire, Crescent Fires, Klamath Fire. All of these we pay into. We pay the protection for those. Now Crescent Fire comes in and says, we want to tax you this extra money, about $150 a year.
Cal Fire,
Fire.
yeah.
They want to tax extra on this at no extra protection. We don't get extra protection for this.
And it's interesting, there are so many elements to this. The first question is it a tax, is it a fee? And that really is critical because as we know under Prop 13, the definition impacts whether you need a 50% plus one vote or a 2/3 vote, whether you need to go to the people or go to the legislature, because this was passed by the legislature with 50 plus one.
It was forced on us. Nobody in our area, any area, voted on it. It was forced on us from the legislature.
There's
That's
another question.
unconscionable.
The other question becomes, to the extent there is a legal concern, how should the case be brought? So litigation was filed. Should there be a class action to impact all 800,000 of you, or should you have to file individually? What'd the court say on that?
Well, the courts haven't ruled on that as far as I know.
But I think class action status is moving forward.
It may be.
Right.
But we have put forth a protest form every year for the last 4 years that this has been on. And they've said if this is declared unconstitutional, if we have submitted those forms, we'll be able to get our money back.
I remember, it's funny you said
And I think I've got a Golden Gate Bridge to sell you.
No, but I was going to say, I remember there was a smog fee that was put on cars, I think in the 90s, if the car was brought in from another state. I had moved from Colorado, so I was charged a smog fee. The smog fee was ultimately declared unconstitutional as against the provision that you should not treat one person from one state different from a person in another state.
Right.
And I was able to get my money back. And so you never know.
You never know. It could happen. But it's unconscionable that we in rural areas should be saddled with this fee that provides no benefit.
I want to talk about, speaking of bridges,
Sure.
I want to talk about another transportation question.
All right.
And that is what's known as the last chance grade. It's a 4-mile segment off Highway 101, or part of Highway 101. It is between Klamath and Crescent City. Give us a sense of that 4-mile segment.
Well, that's a 2-lane road. Very few 2-lane roads in Highway 101.
Right.
And if you're from Southern California or any from there, you think 6
Right.
lanes roads is
Of
not
course,
enough,
of
right?
course.
We've got a 2-lane road. This road goes right along the bluffs from the ocean.
Got it?
It fell into the ocean in the 1970s.
Literally.
Literally fell into the ocean. It killed 2 people. In fact, the son of that couple is fighting for us to get this road repaired. Keep in mind, it's been like, what, 40 years? And we still are fighting this battle. They made a repair to give us 2 lanes, but those 2 lanes now are falling into the sea.
So let's talk about it, because it's an interesting issue. And the reason why I'm glad we're talking about it, although it may be local, as I walk up and down the halls of this convention, everyone's talking about transportation and infrastructure funding and the, quote, failure of Sacramento to provide bona fide infrastructure funding reform. You need money to fix this road, and it is subject to landslides, it's subject to road failure, and if there's road failure, your county could be isolated, completely isolated.
This is Highway 101. This is a federal highway. A federal highway. Between Eureka and Crescent City is about 90 miles. If this road were to fail, in order to get for us to go to Eureka, you'd have to go from Crescent City to Grants Pass, Oregon, to Medford, Oregon.
Up and around.
Ashland, Yreka, all of that, and then take 299. You're talking about 6 hours to get
for 5 minutes.
I
Essentially.
mean, yeah.
But
so and that's what's going to happen. The point is, we need to get this road bypassed.
But
now,
right. So here's the challenge.
Caltrans says it's going to fall into the sea. Caltrans says that.
Here's the challenge. We don't know what's the best alternative. Do you want a kind of short bypass? And if you want a short bypass, the redwoods could be impacted. Do you want a longer bypass? That gets more expensive. And so, I mean, the cost could be anywhere from $320 million to $1.6 billion.
Yes.
That's a huge swath, a huge spread.
Absolutely. My point of view?
Yeah.
I don't care. I don't care. I don't care if it's the shortest one or the longest one or whatever. Just do it. That's it. We've been waiting 40 years for this. Come on.
And once you decide, it's an 8-year review process. Is that right?
Caltrans says once we get going on this thing, it's going to be completed in 2039.
We'll be long gone.
2039.
Hopefully, I'll still be here.
Right. That's no solution. That's no solution at all. We need to go to Washington. We need to get them to earmark this.
Is this a Washington issue?
This is a Washington issue.
It's not a Sacramento issue.
No, Sacramento might have to supply the matching funds, 5% or something like that. But this is a federal highway.
What about Del Norte passing a self-help tax?
You don't have enough people. Del Norte has a total population of about 28,000 people.
Yeah.
You could probably, maybe if you taxed them $50,000 a piece.
Yeah, you'll be fine. Yeah, but that's not that half-cent sales tax.
You couldn't do that.
It's not going to do it. So have you spoken with your congressman?
And actually, this is not a Del Norte issue. People use this highway going all the way from Spokane, Washington, all the way down to San Diego, California.
Well, the incoming president, Donald Trump, has talked about infrastructure projects, so maybe that could be on the list. Maybe.
Well, I think that's what we need to do. Is we need to go back to Washington and we need to say, hey, a priority project, you cannot have a breach in a U.S. highway.
His name is Bob Berkowitz. He is a new supervisor in Del Norte County, beautiful area of North State, California. I'm Brad Pomerance in Palm Springs at the California State Association of Counties Convention, Charter Local Edition.